Hi, hello, and how are you? My name is Aspasia, and this is my booktube channel, Asparagus is Reading, and today we're going to be doing a March wrap-up. So as you probably know, at least if you've been around my channel for a while, I don't do wrap-ups very often. Maybe because I'm lazy and I don't find them the most interesting. Like I tend to kind of just scroll through really quickly and see what books people are talking about, and then kind of go on about my day. Because for the most part, I see what people are reading on Instagram, Goodreads, and Storygraph, so I don't really need to watch the wrap up to see it again. But people seem to really enjoy watching them, so I was like, let me try to do them again. I also think it's interesting to look at stats and look at certain trends and see there's like a certain thing going on each month. So I thought I'd maybe start doing them a little bit more often. But I'm not going to talk about each book I read each month because some months I'll read like 50 and then some months I read 2. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and rock about 50 books. I did that once in the vlog. That ended up being like an hour long. No one cared. So we're not doing that again. So for this month, or at least this wrap up, what I think I'm going to do is tell you about the stats, talk about the worst books, the best books, maybe some that kind of stuck out to me for some reason, things like that. And then I'm going to try to do like a rapid fire review thing, kind of like do really quick, simple reviews, get straight to the point. But I like to talk a lot, so we'll see. So I am sitting like this, like I have, graphics and whatnot over here. And I guess we'll see how this goes. I don't know if we'll do wrap up for April, but we're testing things out. We'll see. Alright, so according to my story graph, I have read a total of 21 books in April, and that equates to about 5,549 pages. Now I'm sure that might be a little off just because depending on the format, page numbers are a little different. So I'm sure that might be more or less in there, but I'd say that sounds pretty right. I do have a graph here for moods, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't pay much attention to this graph just because some books will count towards multiple moods. The graph is confusing to me because like I might not consider it to be that mood, but other people will consider it that mood and so will go there. So I'm just gonna skip past that. So for pacing, I read 58% of books in medium pacing, 11% of books are in slow, and 32% are in fast, which equates to 6 books were fast paced, 2 books were considered slow paced, and 11 books were considered medium paced, which makes sense. I feel like most books tend to be a pretty medium pace, like very easy for people to follow, with the rare few that take forever, or the ones you really just speed up and you feel like you finish the book so quickly. But also I feel like that's makes sense because I have been reading a bit of like fantasy, at least more now, and then a lot of romances, which I feel like tends to fit into that medium fast pacing. For page numbers, the vast majority of the books I have read this month are under 300 pages, which is 58% of my reading, or 11 books, and the rest of them are between 300 and 499 pages, which makes sense because again, I'm reading a lot of romances now. Romances tend to be under 300 pages, especially if you do ebook format. Those tend to condense, especially if you use like a smaller font, then it will, less pages. So I'm sure that makes sense. However, I have noticed a trend where I'm seeing a lot of romance books getting closer to the 300 to 400 page range. So I'm very curious to see if that is something that's going to continue and if that is something readers will continue to enjoy, because I have noticed some complaints where people are saying like they feel like these romance books are a little too long and dragged on. However, they're still being picked up and they're still being published. So I don't know. I just noticed some books are being thicker for romance. So, and there seems to be a mixed response to them. Now, have I read fiction or nonfiction? The majority of the graph is fiction. I'm gonna be honest, most nonfiction books that I read tend to be books for school. And I don't always track them because I don't always read the entirety of the book. Because a lot of times when I get a book for school, we only read certain chapters or section of it and not the entirety of it. And also, I just never really care for my school books. So a lot of times I don't finish them because I just don't care myself. I'll tend to skim through it, so I don't track that because I don't feel like I've actually read it. So for this chart, 100% are fiction. And if we do scroll down, or, well, I'll put a screenshot over here, for my genres, as expected, majority of them are romance, and I believe that is about 15 of the books that I read were considered romance, or at least have some romance themes. Okay, we have 9 with a fantasy theme, 7 with some sort of contemporary theme. We got erotica, LGBT plus, young adult, graphic novel, etc., etc. Now, we'll be honest. Some of these books do count towards multiple genres, so the number will jump up a little more. Some of these graphs are a little confusing because the books can go in multiple places, so it doesn't match up with numbers correctly. So I don't really pay attention, and also this really depends on what readers may classify this book as, because sometimes they'll even ask you what genre is this book. So if you might say, oh, this is very sci-fi, someone else might say fantasy, so the book will end up being put in 2 spots. So I don't pay attention to this. I already know what I read: romance, fantasy, contemporary, YA, same couple genres over and over. For format, digital, which is ebooks from Libby, NetGalley, or by Kindle Unlimited or things like that, I read 16 of them, which is also 76% of the books. I did do 3 audiobooks, which is 14%, and 2 physical books, which is 10%. I do hope to read more physical books over the summer just because I have more time to actually pick it up and hold it in comparison to ebooks. However, I do feel like ebooks, I tend to read those faster, so maybe I can use that or audio to kind of cut down on my physical TBR. The next chart on Storygraph is your star ratings. I have not been doing star rating reviews for months now. Looking back on a lot of my star rating reviews, I feel like my thoughts are no longer the same for the book, and I feel like star ratings never really fully represent how I feel about a book. And so I kind of just stopped with that, especially if someone looks at a book like, oh, she says 3 stars, it's not that good. Like, it could be good, but it didn't hit 4 or 5 star level. It could be good, but it's not a favorite. It can be good, maybe the writing itself wasn't amazing, or maybe I wish I had more emotional attachment to it. But other people may look at 3 stars and be like, So, stop with that. Really no excuse for reviews. I've just been lazy and really busy, but I do hope to start writing some more. In fact, I do have to write 3 this weekend. Will I do them? We'll see. And the last chart here is this page count for each day. I don't know how accurate this is, to be quite honest, because I didn't update my page count each day. This is just based on when I started a book and when I finished the book, so they did this math themselves. So we're just going to skip past that. Alright, so now we're going to go into the books and see, the best and worst of the month, if it loads. So like I said earlier, I did read 21 books, so let's see. I do believe the majority of them were part of series, or on Kindle Unlimited, because my Kindle Unlimited subscription ends very soon, so I wanted to kind of like hurry up and read some of those that I've been wanting to read. Let's see. Best books and worst books. In terms of worst books, the first one I can see here is the Shift book by Ruby Dixon, which I did talk about, I believe, in a vlog. This is basically a collection of 5 little short stories by Ruby Dixon about different people who live in this town that involve a lot of shifters. It's in the book, the town is known for having a lot of shifters. Basically people who turn into werewolves, werecats, werebears, or whatever. You could definitely tell that this is some of her older writing, and it's not as good as her newer books, just because it is much shorter. They're not as fleshed out, and again, they're a bit older. You can see that her writing has grown over the years, and I definitely did not enjoy them. They definitely felt like same plot, different font, and the characters, especially the men, were very possessive and very annoying. And I feel like in certain instances, the women kind of dismissed their behaviors, where I'm a little concerned because, like, in real life, I'd be a little scared for my life, to be quite honest, but maybe some women are okay with some of that behavior, but that was not a favorite for me. The next book on here that I wouldn't really consider the worst, I think it's just terms of sensitive content and incredibly annoying, hard to enjoy character, and that is Don't Cry For Me by Daniel Black. Again, talked about this in a vlog, I think. The main character, the husband, the father, whatever you want to call him, is not designed to be enjoyed by the readers. I don't think he was created to be enjoyed by the readers. He really disgusted me as a man, as a human being. He really deserved a little bit more consequences, if you were to ask me. He treats his family and other humans around him like absolute trash. He's very controlling. I believe he became physically abusive at one point. He is homophobic towards other people and his own members. He can be racist. He's a very just, like, it was hard to read in his head because I'm like, dude, you're just, stop talking. Like, stop talking. And I think the point of the book was to kind of watch this man over the years realize what he has done wrong and try to fix his relationship with his son. But I like, if it was me, if I was the son, if I was a child, I'd be petty. Don't pick up the phone. I wouldn't come over. Anything you send me in the mail will get immediately sent back. I don't want to hear it, because that man, like, I do believe people can change and grow. But I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could personally allow myself to fully heal and forgive someone that has continuously treated me and other people the way that this man has. I think that might be the worst, or the worst. Might be the last of the books that I would say were worst or maybe not as enjoyable for me. Everything else I would say was a 3 stars and above, and I did enjoy them to an extent. Oh yeah. So I did also read The Spanish Love and Deception by Elena Armas. This for me definitely felt like one of those books that was really hyped up and that I got excited reading and had high expectations because of the hyping up how everyone else really loved it, and I just don't think I loved it the way that I wanted to. I definitely feel like my feelings were definitely really influenced by everyone else, and so I just felt really let down by this book. I felt really bored. Wanted them to kind of get to the point. I don't really see the obsession. And I think that's just something that I kind of have to grow to accept and really just adjust, because I have noticed that a lot of books that are really popular in the online book community has not hit me in the same way. I've been really disappointed by quite a lot of popular books. So I think I'm just, again, realizing like, okay, Spasia, maybe these popular books are just not for you. Pick and choose the right ones. That's alright. So that one was definitely a miss for me. Stuck with You by Ali Hazelwood, the audiobook e-novella she's coming out with. I recently reread Love Hypothesis, and I enjoyed it. Definitely not as much as the first time. I have now read 2 of 3 of these ebook novellas that she's coming out with, and I am noticing a pattern in her writing. She seems to know exactly what her audience wants or what's really popular in the romance community right now, and she seems to be writing the same formula, the same character, same things, different font, at least in my opinion, and I'm getting bored. Especially since I'm reading them back to back like this, I'm noticing similarities. There seems to be some kind of rivalry, enemies to lovers, slow burn, get locked up in a room. It's a very fan fiction type, very Wattpad feeling to me. I don't know, it was okay. Like, it's not surprising me anymore. I don't think I'm gonna be very quick to pick up Ali Hazelwood in the future, just because I feel like I've already read these stories more than once. Now for best books. Now I have done some rereads. We're gonna completely skip past those. I feel like those don't count. So you already know I enjoy them, so that was the purpose of the reread. Let's see what we have in here. So for best books, I would say definitely Dark Fire, Fire Blood Dragons, book 10 of Reed Dixon. I talked about this in my vlog. Did I talk about it in the vlog? I think I did. This one I enjoyed. It's book 10 in the Fire Blood Dragons, I guess, series. And this follows somewhat of a villain character of book 1 through 9. This book does take place during book 1 through 9, so you do see some events from book 1 through 9. So if you read 1 through 9 and get annoyed with the repetition in book 10, it's just because it's showing you their relationship throughout those first 9 books. I definitely felt like this book showed Azar as a man that really needed growth and someone stubborn to challenge him. It does get annoying with the repetition of him not necessarily listening to what people are telling him and to continuously lie and go against their back and their will. I think it's because this man is just generally believes that what he's doing is right and the best thing to do, because that's how it was done on his planet, and he feels like he could do it on this planet and conquer and make things right. But he's not necessarily listening to people around him, and it's causing a lot of problems. So I will say the repetition was annoying, but I do enjoy that people were there to continue teaching him or try telling him like this is not going to work, and they were willing to continue working with him, and to see him gradually realize like, okay, let me start easing up, let me start trying to change and really, gradually start to be like, all right, let me really listen. Because even though he did listen, he wasn't fully listening until like towards the end. So you did see a little bit that gradual growth and understanding happen with him. Especially since he seems like someone who's really grown with those previous beliefs that really rooted into him. So I could see why that would take a little while to kind of break up that. There was a little bit of themes of exhausted, tired black women when it comes to explaining things and defending yourself a little bit with the book. It's very, I would say light, but if you are a black woman, I think you would recognize that, and she even discusses it. I mean, the author does towards the end in the author's note. So I did notice that myself, and I thought it was interesting that was included. But I feel like it wasn't something that really brought up like a big discussion or anything like that. The next books that I read that are part of a series that I'm really enjoying, or at least I started to really enjoy, is the Orc Sworn series by Finley Fenn. I really enjoyed this series, basically about women who end up becoming mates or lovers with different orcs that they meet at some point in their life. I started off out of order because I don't care. Most romances you don't really have to read in order. I believe the first one was The Librarian and the Orc, and I really enjoyed it. Now that I'm 4 or 5 books into the series, this is definitely one where the author has a formula, and I'm noticing same books, same characters, different font, different names. So I am getting a little bit bored just because I feel like I'm reading the same thing over and over again, so I might just skip the last 2 or 3, but I did really enjoy them the first 2 books I read, because I felt like it was very different than what I'm used to. Fantasy elements, romance elements, there's drama, there's angst, stubborn characters. There's even a little bit of science elements in some of the books, history, like the characters, the world building, like there's even like myths and legends. There's LGBT orcs, there's drama. Like there was one character when one guy was like telling all the tea about another character, and I said, oh, you are literally a side character, and you bring out drama right now. Like I was enjoying the side character relationships and stuff, so. But again, it's starting to feel like the same thing over and over again. So I don't know how I feel. I might just skip the last ones. But I kind of want to finish the series, so I don't know. Ooh, another series. Evie Mitchell's Love Flushed and Not My Type, which are part of her All Access series. This book's featured typically the female blonde characters. I believe some of the side characters have some kind of disability or illness. Book 1 has a woman in a wheelchair, and book 2 has a woman with Crohn's disease. I really enjoyed these. These were really fun. I felt like they were very diverse in terms of content. Like they talked about different sex-related things. They talked about different disabilities and mental health and illness and different types of jobs that women or people do in general. Like it felt like it was very like open to anything, and very representative of other things in the world. I feel like with a lot of romances you tend to see very similar things, and I feel like this kind of went beyond that. And I really enjoyed them. I think I liked Love Flushed more in terms of content or storylines or whatever. And I'm very curious, interested to see if she plans to write any more for this series, because I would definitely pick them up. Another book I really enjoyed is Cinder's Adventure, but I did a whole video for that, so we're just going to skip right past that one. If you want to learn more about it, you can watch that video. I believe the last one that I really enjoyed, which is a recent read, is Fair Catch by Candy Steiner. I discovered Candy last year, I think, on TikTok, and really enjoyed those books, and I have been gradually reading more and more of her backlist these past couple months, and the most recent one was Fair Catch that just came out 2-3 weeks ago now, I think. This follows a guy and a girl who have been admitted on to a college football team, and they, at the beginning, are not very close because she blames him for the traumatic event that happened to her twin brother. Her twin brother is currently in a wheelchair after a drunk driving accident, so she blames the brother's best friend, but they are now forced to work together as football teammates, and they're also roommates. So that was very interesting. I really enjoyed this one because it showed that gradual forgiveness from other people, but also being able to forgive yourself. In terms of things like this, I also just really enjoyed their romance. And I can definitely see some growth with Candy Steiner's writing throughout the recent books that of hers that I've read. I think that is all the books that we're going to be talking about today. Let me know how many books you read in March and which one would you consider your best or your worst. Let me know if you would like to see more videos like this in upcoming months, or if I should maybe format a little different. Like, what part did you like? Did you like the stats? Did you like that I only talked about certain books? Like, let me know what you think. And with that being said, I'm gonna go. Have a good day, good night, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is where you are, and I'll see you later.